So good evening, everyone. Today I'm giving presentation on one of the Drupal's very useful feature, that is display mode. I will be giving explanation with demo also. So let's start. So these are the sections we will be covering in the session. So starting with introduction. So display modes are one of the core feature of our Drupal. So whenever we do a fresh Drupal installation, we can see that display modes in structures. Like for example, here I had done a fresh installation. We can see here that display modes here. So this is one of the very useful tool for structuring a site. We will see in our demo that how can we use it. So display modes are similar like other configuration entities, like export and import configurations of content types, taxonomies. Similarly, we can also export and import display modes similarly like other configuration entities. Display modes have uh, two parts. One is the view mode and other is form mode. Like we can see here in display modes, one is the POM mode and other is view mode. We'll be covering both of these in detail. Okay, so let's first start with the view mode. Uh, we may have encountered many situations like we want to use content at multiple places. Like suppose we need to display node content in multiple places, like in views, in other blogs, and or as a entity reference. But we want the content to be displayed in different formats or in different style. So at that place we can use view mode. When if we see in view mode, it is we can create view modes for content, blogs, comments, taxonomy terms, and users. So according to our requirement, we can create different view modes so that we can render only the required fields at the place where we want to render the content, so that it will also improve the performance of our site, so that we do not need to unnecessarily render not required contents. So if we see, there are some by default view modes are available here. Like in content, we have full content, RSS, search index, search result. Similarly, for other like taxonomy, we have this view mode, and we can create our own view modes also. For example, I'm creating a view mode for content. So suppose we create it by demo. Okay, so here the new view mode is created. So how can we use this view mode? So for the demo, I created two content types. One is the information and one is the related item. Here are some fields I added. What is the description and this is subtitle. And for using the view mode, we can access them from manage display. Here is at the bottom we can see that custom display settings. From here we can choose view modes which we want to use. Suppose we want to choose the one which we created. Okay, so in view modes we can set that what are the fields we want to show on the front end of the site. Like this is the default one, and these are the fields which will be visible when we use the default view mode. uh, if we use this view mode, we can set which fields we want to use in the views blocks or wherever the content whenever at wherever the place we are entering the content. So for example, if suppose I disable this field, so this field will be not visible in the front end. So if I say this, okay, so I'm giving a demo with one of the cases. Like we will use the content of this content of related items in information content type. So I will add one more field here, and that is entity reference field for this content. So I will use related item here. Okay, so this field is now here present, and in manage display, in default view mode, we will like to render the whole entity here. Okay, and we will add a view mode for this related item. Okay. So these are the some fields which I added in this related item content type, and I want to display only some of these fields in this view mode. So I select this view mode and disable some fields. Like for example, I am disabling subtitle field, this int field that was an integer field, and I saved it. Okay, and then I create a dummy content for this. Okay, the content is created for this related item, and for this content in information content type, I will use the content of related item. Okay. Now we will see the settings of display for this information. So by default, these all fields will be visible here, and we will check here first. Okay. So this is all the data for that information content, and this is the data from a related item. So here we can see that all the fields are visible here. But in we want to use the demo view mode which we created. So what will we do here in this information content type? We will edit the settings here and use the from here the view mode. We will select the demo view mode. And in the related items, we had uh, we had disabled this int field and subtitle field. So in front end, we will see that this two fields will be not visible. Like here, we can see that only the description and the body field are present here, and the subtitle and int fields are not visible now. So like this, we have for like we had done for the content. Similarly, we can do for taxonomies also. Like in information, uh, I'm adding for one field for taxonomy. This is the one of the vocabulary I created for demo. Okay, and we want to render the complete taxonomy item. So we'll add a term inside this taxonomy. The subtitle piece I added recently in this category to show the difference between the view modes. Okay, so this term is created here. Okay, so we will create a new view mode for this taxonomy. Here in taxonomy, add a new taxonomy term view mode. Okay, so the view modes for the content will be only used for contents, and for taxonomy will be only visible for taxonomies only. So when we go to use this view mode, we can use using the manage display from here. We can select the demo taxonomy. Okay, by default, this description and subtitle fields both will be visible whenever we render this taxonomy item in at another place. Uh, but suppose if we want a different view mode at a place, we do not want description. So we will disable here and save here. And we will edit the information content. Here we will use the taxonomy term we created. Okay, and here in the settings, I have to select the view mode which fulfills our requirement. So by default, it was default, and I am selecting demo taxonomy. Okay, so here we can see that only subtitle is visible here. So we on the description field which we had disabled for this view mode, it is not here present here. So similarly, like this situation, we can use view mode at other places also. For example, in views, like we create blogs or like create listing for products and blogs and any other items. We can use view mode similarly like here also. For example, suppose we select contents from related items. Okay. From here settings, we can instead of fields, we can choose content. And in the view mode, we can select the whatever the view mode we will like to use here. According to the view mode, it will render only the fields which are present in the configuration settings for this view mode. Like here, we can see that subtitle and int fields we had disabled there in this view mode. So they are not present in the preview also. So like this, we can use view mode also with views. Okay. Other than content taxonomy, like we can use view modes with paragraphs also, uh, comments also, and many applications are that many places we can use this feature of Drupal of display modes. So we have seen these 3 points that we can create our own view mode and templates. So if we see the content here and check the content which we rendered as a entity reference here, we can see here I enabled the tweak debugging. We can see the suggestions for the template by which we can override the default template and provide the wrappers which we need here. For example, we have selected the demo view mode for this. There is a template available for this view mode, that is node related item and hyphen demo. This template we can use for overriding this default template. Similarly, if we create any other view modes also, there will be templates available for overriding the default template. So we can provide different styles for different places. Here we already seen this demo that we can use how can we use the view mode with the entity reference field and views also. Next we move on to the form mode. Similarly, like view mode, we can see that in display mode there is form modes also. Uh, Similarly, like we had created the form mode and view mode for content taxonomy paragraphs. We can also create it for uh, comments, content taxonomy, and every available options here. So, like we had used the view mode for displaying the content rendered at any place of the site on the front end. We can use the form mode to change the display of the form. Suppose when we create any content, we can see the form here. Like here, we have to input all these fields and then we submit. Then the content is created. So at that place, we can use the form mode so that according to the most common situation we can see that we want to display a form differently for different users. So at that place the form mode is very useful tool here. We have created a custom view mode, we can similarly create the form mode also. I am creating one for content. Okay. We edited, like we used the view mode from manage display. Similarly, we can use this form mode from manage form display. From here, custom display settings, we can check this and save. We can see that it is available here. So by default, this all fields will be visible. But if we need to hide any field or change or customize any other field, we can do it from we can choose the different form mode and do from there. Suppose I want to hide this two fields for this form mode. Okay. So, but using form mode is not as much as easy like the view modes, because if we want to implement this requirements, we have to do programmatically. So I'm focusing on some UI options which we can use, which we can use to uh, implement this requirement, and that will be easy to implement. So there are two modules, contributor modules, which are easy to use. One is the form mode manager and one is the form mode control. We can use this module for managing the form modes from UI. That will be less time taking than doing work programmatically. So we will first try with this form mode control. So the module is enabled here. So if we see here, this is enabled here, and we can configure it according to our needs. So it is providing two options for that is, one is for the content creation and one is for edit the content. This is for administration roles. So if we need for any other user roles, suppose we want to display a form differently for any other different user, we have to provide some permissions to any other for other user roles. So I had created a other role. Here I am giving the permission to access all the form nodes. Okay. Now if we see from here, there is one select box is also visible here for the editor roles. So we want to display, we want to show form differently for these roles, for the users with these roles. So for content creation, for editor, I'm choosing form mode demo, and for edit also, I am selecting this. I had already created a user with this editor role. So first we see by default for administrator how the form looks. We can see here that title, body, subtitle, int, and description, all the fields are visible here. But if we see with editor role, here I am logged in as editor. And I have to add content for related item. We can see here that only this title, summary, body, and subtitle, these fields are available here. And these two fields are missing for that editor. So like this, we can use the form mode control module for managing the form modes. I had also provided some other permissions to the editor also, like to edit and delete and create new content also. Uh, so like this, we can manage or edit, create and content. We can manage the forms for operations or content. Similarly, we can use another module also, that is form mode manager. Let me first disable this. Yes, so module is enabled here. This is the setting form for this module. Here we can see that view modes which we created for form modes will be visible here, and we can select which form mode we do not need to be which we do not need at any place. We can select, but we want to select use this form mode. So we'll continue with this. And here in local task settings, I will explain in a minute. Similarly, here we also need to give permission. Here I'm providing editor the permission also. So here we can see that we get two buttons to edit the form as a different mode. Suppose if we are selecting this mode, it will it will create a content related item, but the two fields which we disabled in the form display will not be visible here. And if we select this one, it will take to the default form. Here the two fields will be visible. Similarly, if we see for editor also, here we will get the two buttons uh, like we have seen for admin. If we want to choose this form mode, so the here the fields will be not visible, and by default in default form these two fields will be present here. Uh, but in permissions we can manage that we only the one form mode should be available for this editor. From here I am disabling this use default form mode for entity node. Okay, so here only this button is available here. So the form will be visible only with the hidden fields, which we hidden in the manage form display. So this is how we can use the form modes for managing the form displays for different users and in the different or in the any different scenarios. So that's all about the session. Any questions?
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I had an amazing time learning all the new things here at Specbee's TechX. And if you did too, do let us know in the comments below. Keep following Specbee for the latest trends in technology. See you in the next one.